Hey everybody, welcome to episode 1 of Aches Gainz with Doc and Donnie. I am Dr. Aches Gainz. What is up, Donnie?
Hey man, I'm happy to be here with you. This is fun for me. Looking forward to it. Nothing like BSing and talking about science and lifting.
Yeah.
It's two of my three favorite things.
First,
so we leave the other one out for everybody's sake. So
yeah. Man, well, I'm glad to be here with you as well. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But I got an important question for you, Donnie. You have a beard.
Yes.
Great, cool. I'm just checking.
Yeah, it's there.
Talk to me about beard maintenance.
Oh man, it's funny you asked this. I just started re-upping my beard maintenance actually as of recent. I ordered some beard shampoo that's or beard conditioner. I passed the shampoo part. I'm going straight to the good stuff and conditioner. And I've been. My girlfriend has ordered some oils to put into it as well, which I've been not doing very well on that. But the conditioner part feels so good. I just do it because of the way it feels, man. I don't even care what it does after that.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
I have what's called a rough, scraggly beard. You know, that's the medical term for it, and it's just not easy to take care of. Unlike your perfectly manicured and you just magnificent.
I know.
Beard
Well,
right
so I mean, I think because I am going bald. I'm not fully bald. It's balding. Just kidding. God at least said, hey, you know what I'm going to let you have? I'm going to let you have like a full head of facial hair. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank you, God.
South of the hemisphere.
Because, every once in a while, if I shave everything, I get confused for powder. Great movie. Go back. I think it's PG-13. It's really a fantastic story about life. And I have just...
I would say you without a beard would be like the most jacked cancer patient ever.
Yeah,
so.
I'm glad that you started that way. Our podcast, our very first episode. So here's the thing: despite being a doctor of physical therapy, I'm a moron. I have had a set of clippers for the better part of a decade, and I realized. So I used to go against the grain. I know, classic mistake.
Rookie.
Yep, I'm a rookie. Went and did my own YouTube hunting, and because we're in a pandemic, and edit that out. You know what's really good for podcasts when you do visual.
Polarization.
Well, no, when people who are just listening to this and you do some sort of gesture for the listeners at home. I hope you got that.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for those who are watching here on YouTube. I realized that you can just turn the clippers upside down. So here's my hesitation. Because I don't want to look like powder, I want to make sure that I keep this nice and fresh year-round.
Yeah, because you make one mistake.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all got to come off. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Well, I guess because I've been at home a lot more, and I don't really care what I look like because I also have a wife and 2 kids. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to kind of mess around with some stuff. So I realized,
so you know, if you have a wife and 2 kids, that means you don't have to look good anymore. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
my wife's listening. It's fine. And so I realized that I can just turn the clippers upside down, and so that I'm going with the green, and then I can maintain this luscious look.
So that's how you have your Thor-like jawline because of the going down.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm taking notes right now, actually, as we speak.
So notes of those out there. If you have a set of clippers, you're not sure how to trim your beard. Just go down. Yeah. Up
you don't even have to do anything except for supinate.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, quit dropping those science.
Oh, this is the first. That's right. You're supposed to be the smart one.
First episode.
Oh my bad. I forgot. That means you turn it upside down.
Yeah.
There you go.
So anyway, I appreciate the conditioner that you use and the oil, and so that does add that extra sheen. And it's just nice and smooth, man. Like you walk around, and you want to look good. I mean, you have other issues that you might have to cover up with your beard, and so for people like you look a lot better. You
know what? I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
So I have a baby face under here.
Yeah.
Just a very large baby.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all there is to it. Like, have you ever seen those babies that come out? Like, how did that come out? That's me. In a face.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, thanks for your honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, Donnie, I have a question for you. When's the last time that you had a disc in your lumbar spine fly out of your back when you went to bend over and tie your shoes?
Actually, this morning around 8:45.
What?
No.
Did you pick it up and put it back in your back?
Actually, I had somebody do it for me. When you get my status, you have other people do that for you. So the answer is not for a long time.
Okay.
I wonder where you're going with this, Dr. Hayes.
Would you say that you've bent over to pick some things up, and you've never had a disc leave your body?
Never left the body. It tried once or twice, but it got trapped.
It stayed in.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. All right. Donnie, would you say that the deadlift is the deadliest of lifts?
Ooh, that's such a play on words. I don't even know what to do. I have to give like a second to respond.
Yeah.
It is the deadliest of lifts. However, it's not. It's actually the best lift you could do for your overall strength, especially for you guys that want to talk about core strength. I love that word, core. Deadlift.
Yeah.
Deadlift.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about the deadlift. That's the meat of this episode right now. There's unfortunately still a lot of controversy out there about, is the deadlift safe for you? Is the deadlift going to cause you to herniate discs in your spine? Should you deadlift at all? I mean, let's be honest. You guys already know what the answers are going to be, but we're still going to spend the next 10 minutes or so telling you why you need to go pick things up and put them down. So, Donnie.
Like Planet Fitness said.
You are a national champion powerlifter.
I was.
You were a national champion.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
Yeah.
Beat up now.
Okay. All right. Well,
and someday, at one point in my life, I swear it's online. You can look it up.
Okay. So I'm assuming that when you go and you lift heavy things in powerlifting competitions, that you have to do a deadlift.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
They say that the meat doesn't start till the bar hits the ground.
Yeah.
So
There you go. Have you also? I know you have a truck, right? You have put things in the back of your truck and then lifted them out of the back of your truck, right?
Yep.
You've done that.
Have.
Cool. You know what, Donnie? That's called a hip hinge. That's the exact same movement when we do a deadlift.
Can you explain for us uneducated meatheads?
Yes, I can. So when we hinge at our hips, it is a way to lift an object while we keep our spine in what's called a neutral position. And so we hinge at our hips, we allow our knees to flex, and we use our posterior chain, those big ham hocks that you have back there, to bend and to lift objects from the ground.
Using leverages?
It's weird. It's weird. It's a fancy concept.
Yeah.
So the deadlift, by nature, is not a dangerous lift. As a matter of fact, it's one of the safer lifts you could do out there. It's not going to cause the injuries that people think it's going to cause. So, Donnie, tell me, how do you deadlift?
Carefully, but I'm actually going to backtrack on here. You talked about controversies here, and I'm going to add some controversy here later on into this segment here, but I'll answer your question. How I deadlift based on how I'm built is different than how you deadlift based on how you're built. And that's a big problem I see with a lot of, we'll use the word coaches, self-proclaimed coaches, most likely. I'm not trying to be too mean here. Is they have a cookie cutter format for every person. And the reality of it is the way I'm built, the way my thoracic spine is, will not fit into the cookie cutter, the way they teach at a deadlift in personal training school. It just does not happen. It will not happen. And in fact, it hinders my deadlift, and it causes a point where I can actually injure myself versus being there. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to round their upper back. I'm just saying if you have a strong enough upper back to be able to round while maintaining a position throughout the entire rep of the deadlift, and that's how you're built, then don't let some, I gotta watch my mouth here, don't let some small person tell you that you're not deadlifting right, even though you're deadlifting 200 pounds more than them. It doesn't always stay that way. You can have different types of deadlifting based off your body. Make sure you understand how your mechanics work. Make sure you understand how you're built. Make sure you understand your strengths and weaknesses before you go in there and have somebody tell you what's right and wrong.
Agreed. Yeah, man. So the main thing is, what people think when they think of deadlift, the mechanism of injury is lifting something with a flexed spine. So what happens is potentially a disc can herniate posteriorly. Man, you should have told me to bring my freaking spine model.
Oh, we forgot. We talked about it.
We talked about it. Anyway, it's for the listeners
that.
out there. My visual props for the
Picture is fine.
Yeah. So when you bend over and you bend and you flex at the spine, potentially that is a mechanism of injury for a disc to herniate out posteriorly. Just like when your knee goes into what's called valgus, that is the mechanism of injury for an ACL or MCL tear. Now, that doesn't guarantee that injury is going to happen. Same thing when you bend and lift and your spine is flexed, it does not guarantee that an injury is going to happen. So that's where the controversy is. But as you said, everyone is built a little bit differently. As long as you maintain that angle of your spine throughout the lift, you're fine. You're safe. It's okay. I'm going against a couple of the luminaries in the physical therapy world. So there's a gentleman named Stu McGill. You're aware of Stu McGill
very
as
well. His book, The Gift of Injury, I recommend for everybody to read.
He's fantastic. He's a PhD. He's one of the smartest people in our field. I think what happens, unfortunately, so he's been quoted as, even when you use a relatively lightweight, doing poor reps shifts some of the stress to your delicate spine. Little by little, rep by rep, your spine breaks down until you potentially end up with serious back pain, and that's according to Stu McGill. And unfortunately, I had issues with that quote, Stu. And Stu's probably listening. Definitely.
Yeah, sure, of course he is.
Yeah. The delicate nature of the spine is it's not as delicate as we think we are. We are not delicate beings. They are 90-year-olds who have been shown with studies to start a strength training program at 90 years old. They don't injure themselves. They improve their strength. They improve their hypertrophy. If 90-year-olds
bone density,
if they can go and deadlift, we're all safe to deadlift. So, we're talking about a likelihood. And the problem is we don't know what the likelihood is of you herniating a disc versus me herniating a disc. Now, do we want to watch out for someone who's flexing as they're lifting? Sure, and that's when we kind of talk about, and what the phrase that I like to use is we're talking about efficiency of movement.
There you go.
Right? So
transfer of power, transfer of energy, that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we don't want to hang on the passive structures of the spine like the ligaments or the discs or the bones, because those are not the power drivers, right? Their job is they are to be acted upon. So you see videos of people who are setting PRs for deadlifts and like, oh man, that guy's back is rounding. Well, if technically speaking, if he kept his back rounded the entire time, he's fine because he's kept that spine in the same position the entire time that he's lifting.
Konstantin Konstantinov, unfortunately, he passed away last year. One of the few men to deadlift 900 pounds back way before people were deadlifting 900 pounds. His spine was rounded from the minute he started to the minute he finished. Even when he was fully locked out, he was still rounded. And what are you going to tell that guy? He was one of the best deadlifters ever. So he understood how his mechanics worked, maintained that position, which is something I can't stress. I'm sure you can't stress any more than maintaining position. When you round during the lift is when injuries can and most likely will happen, given a long enough test period there. Yep. It's going to happen. So staying rigid throughout the lift. And that includes doing your accessory works on your upper back, your rhomboids, your mid-traps. These are the things you have to, doing subscapular work, these kind of things. Not just deadlifting, but hitting those things day in, day out when you're in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So, we talk about things like, the disc herniation. So we can talk about the severity of disc herniations and how often they heal by themselves over time. So you can herniate a disc, and there's evidence out there that in time, it may just heal on its own. So you don't need to go and have an emergency surgery just because you have a herniated disc. The other thing we could talk about is how prevalent disc herniations are in the population, or the asymptomatic population. That's people who have no pain whatsoever. And we basically talk about every decade of life, that percentage of the population, 40% of 40-year-olds, 50% of 50-year-olds, so on and so forth, they have that percentage of that population on an MRI have herniated discs, they have zero pain. So
and probably nothing traumatic to explain.
Yeah.
They can't say, oh, I bent over and it popped up.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the absence of a singular traumatic injury, and unless I have an MRI the day before you had pain and the day of having pain, I can't say with 100% certainty that pain is caused by your herniated disc. So, it's something that people get freaked out about. and it's a common thing. And even if you have a herniated disc, coming back to my world, it's a common dysfunction that we see in the clinic. It's something that it definitely is easily treated by conservative therapy. So.
Well, I want to add one thing, and I want to do a whole show on this one time. We're going to talk about it, about deadlifting as an athlete in season, whether it's risk reward is there or not. And I'm going to quote one of my heroes in strongman, Robert Oberst. He's controversial, and he went on the Joe Rogan show and said that he does not believe that football athletes in season should be deadlifting on a straight bar. And I tend to agree with that, just because of the risk reward. As a strength and conditioning coach and as a PT, your job is to keep them on the field. And if we're talking off season, where where we can have a little variance of injury, whatever, that kind of stuff. But for a straight bar deadlift, for an athlete who's in mid season, I'm going to say no. Let's figure out other different ways to do it. You have trap bar. You have other different ways to strengthen the spine and load the body without having to expose to an injury with a straight bar. We could do a whole other show on that at another time, and I think we should.
Yes, so, I think we should. Great. Let's note that down. Write it down. Expect deadlifts in season to come. But yeah, I agree with you that in season, probably doing. We can talk about which forms are safe, but yes, yep. I agree that
on a macro level,
for the most part, probably don't want to do deadlifts in season.
At least at a plus 60% or something like that. I mean, if we're talking lower range, rep range, something, I don't know if they're rehabbing or something. But I mean, for a strength gaining purpose, I would say almost keep the deadlifts for the off season on a straight bar.
Yeah, man. So we're now going to transition to the part of the show where we either talk about bro science.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought, when are we going to get the damn special effects, man?
Let me get on it.
Okay, all right. We're going to either talk about bro science. Stop it. We're going to talk about bro science, or we're going to talk about our pet peeves. So, Donnie, you were telling me before we recorded this episode that you have a particular pet peeve when it comes to the deadlift.
Did I know?
Did you? Okay, maybe you did. Maybe it was me that told you.
I think it was.
I don't know. Anyway, Donnie, I'm going to tell you my pet peeve with the deadlift. And
we planned this, I promise. Promise.
That's when you see yokels who go into the gym with their running shoes on, and then they go and try to deadlift. Please, for the love of God, take off your damn shoes. At the very least, go get yourself some Converse flat tops, maybe even some like.
Dude, they sell it for $15 at Target.
Yeah, okay, just you don't need that extra bounce when you're deadlifting. Okay, we talked about rounding your back and all that type of stuff. You just look like a fool when you're wearing tennis shoes. You got your Nike Pegasus Airs in there, and you're just bouncing that bar.
That's where they blow out the air.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place to look like you ran a marathon. It's not when you're trying to PR a deadlift.
Hey, you ever taken a Cadillac off-road before? No? Well, you shouldn't. It's the same damn thing of wearing squishy-ass shoes while you deadlift.
Yeah.
There's something called power transfer, okay? We're trying to stabilize the foot into the ground, become one with the ground, transfer the power from the floor up through and then your body into the bar and to move it. Well, when you have shock absorbers on your feet, the power transfer is a little displaced on there, and you can see it if you watch your shoes when you deadlift and you watch that thing flatten out as the first thing before the bar even moves. Flatten out. There goes 10% of your energy right there. Done. Gone.
Yeah.
So let's be a little smarter than that. Hey, barefoot, if your gym will allow it. I think I'm finding myself training barefoot more and more these days. Yes. One of my mentors, Elliot Hulse, man, he trained barefoot ever since I've known him. He also had great dorsiflexion, bastard. But
excellent idea for another podcast coming down the road.
Oh, we're talking about dorsiflexion.
To train, we got three. We're just coming up. We're backing up the ideas. So we're going to talk about dorsiflexion and its importance. You know what we can talk about? Working out barefoot.
There we go.
Working out barefoot. I have been working out barefoot basically the entire past 5 or 6 months for a variety of reasons. I'll let you guys figure that out. and it's really done wonders for my foot strength and my control and my stability. And we'll wrap this one up. My knee pain, because I have some chronic knee injuries, and doing some barefoot training has really helped with my knee pain. But we'll come back to that on another episode. Donnie, any final thoughts about the deadlift?
I think we have more knee surgeries between the two of us than we have knees.
Yeah, well, I have at least 3 knees. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, so, well, once again, guys, you're dealing with guys who have been in the trenches here. I mean, between Hayes and I, we've been lifting for decades, been coaching athletes, been rehabbing people, training us. So when we talk about it, we goof around a lot, but reality of this is serious matters. We really want to help you as athletes, as coaches, as people who are trying to improve themselves, whether they've been injured or whether they're at a point where they're trying to progress.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. We joke around, we do this stuff, and we will continue. It'll get worse, I promise you. But the content we're looking for is we're hoping valuable to you. And if you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about in a future episode, feel free to comment in any of the Instagram, the YouTube, like that. We'll be happy to address stuff. And we would love to expand our knowledge of research by looking up some stuff. So,
speaking of research, my last point I wanted to make. So not only is the deadlift a safe and functional lift to do, they actually used it. There's a study in Sweden. They had 70 participants, and they had patients who had back pain, low back pain, and they did an 8-week program where the deadlift was the main lift of that program. And guess what? Those people had back pain. They had less back pain, and they demonstrated more core endurance strength when they were done with it. Mind blown.
I can't imagine that strengthening a back would make it feel better. That just makes no sense to me at all.
I know. Yep. Got it. So with that said, we appreciate your time. This has been episode 1 of Aches Gainz. Plenty more to come. And if you like this, please like it, share it, subscribe to the YouTube page, subscribe to our social media pages. Donnie, where can they find you on social media?
Instagram.com/Donnie Kiernan and Facebook.com/Donnie Kiernan.
You went with the whole website. Man, you are a genius.
Look at that.
I am Dr. Hayes of Premier Physical Therapy and Sports Performance in Clearwater, Florida. Just type that into the Facebook. You'll find it. On Instagram, I am also at Run Tampa Bay. Nailed it.
I guess that will be it for episode 1, but please come back, see us on episode 2. It may get better or worse depending on how you felt.
See ya. What's up, Donnie? You can say what's
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Can I ask what's up with you?
You can't say what's up with me. I think that we should just be as awkward as possible with our segues.
Shoot. I don't know any other way.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we're good.
We all right.